A special media briefing was held at the President's Media Centre today to provide an explanation regarding the debt restructuring process. The media briefing was attended by the Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, Treasury Secretary Mahinda Siriwardana, Deputy Treasury Secretary A.K. Senaviratna and President's Senior Advisor on Economics, Dr. R.H.S. Samaratunga.
ඉවත් කරන්න ගත්තොත් බැංක් රන් කියලා කියන්නේ ඉකොනොමිකම කොලැප්ස් වෙනවා ආර්ථිකෙම කඩාවැටෙන දෙයක්. ඒක නිසා පළවෙනිම උත්සාහය බැංකු පද්ධතියට හානියක් නොවේ තැන්පත් කරුවගේ මුදල්.
If the banks are at risk and depositors withdraw their money or make a run on the banks, the entire economy will collapse. Therefore, our first attempt is not to damage the banking system and protect the deposits of depositors. Protecting these deposits is important for the preservation of the economy and society. That is the first thing. That is why we said that we must not touch the banking system. Therefore, we will not do anything to the banks. There are funds that are paying less taxes than banks like the Superannuation Fund and the EPF. All the bonds of private bondholders will be repurchased by the government and new bonds will be issued.
යෝජනා කරලා තියෙන්නේ අර ස්ටෙප් ඩවුන් කූපන් කියලා. තියෙන බොන්ඩ්ස් ඔක්කොම නැවත රජයට අරගෙන අලුතෙන් බොන්ඩ් සීරීස් ඉෂුව කරනවා.
Sri Lanka's total public debt stands at $35.4 billion. 11.4 billion US dollars have been obtained as short-term treasury bills. The value of the long-term treasury bonds stands at $24 billion. The domestic debt restructuring plan has proposed for 62.4% of treasury bills purchased by the central bank to be converted to long-term loans. Hence, they will be converted to treasury bonds. In addition, it has also been proposed to reissue the securities purchased by superannuation funds, including the EPF and ETF. A majority of securities bought by these funds are treasury bonds. 36.5% of treasury bonds have been purchased by the EPF. The government has proposed to reissue these bonds through the debt restructuring plan.
ඉෂු කරනකොට 2025 වෙනකම්ම 112ක් කූපන් හම්බ වෙන විදියට. එතකොට 112
The bonds that will be issued newly will provide coupons of 12% until 2025. From there on, coupons worth 9% will be provided. When considering the EPF, which is the largest fund, a return of 9% will be given over the next few years. We know those who are eligible for the EPF can view their balance every 6 months through the statement. We also mentioned the interest received on the balance in the fund. We will assure that the 9% interest will be paid at least over the next 2 to 3 years. Thereafter, based on investments and return and considering the inflation, if inflation is at 5%, we believe we can continue to provide 9% in the long term, so that 9% contribution will be protected. The next most important point is the balance of your EPF statement will not reduce. The balance you have will remain. The return to be received in the future at 9% will also be assured. The government has also given a guarantee that if such reduction is to occur, it will be financed by the Treasury. We believe such a reduction will not occur.
ප්‍රතිලාභය 109 සහතික කරනවා. તો රජයේ පැත්තෙන් සහතිකයක් දීලා තියෙනවා. යම් කිසි ආකාරයකට ඒක අඩු වෙනවා නම් 109 යම් කිසි ආකාරයක අඩුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරන්නේ. වුණොත් භාණ්ඩාගාරයේ පැත්තෙන් ඒ අඩුව පුරවනවා කියන එක තමයි මේක වැදගත්ම.
Yet another proposal made is to impose a tax of 30% on superannuation funds that do not agree with the plan.
ඒතර මේක සහභාගී වීම ධර්මවත් කිරීම සඳහා
In order to encourage parties to join this process, we have given them a choice. Those who do not join this must pay a 30% tax instead of 14%.
අනිත් අය බදු ගෙවන 114 වෙනුවට 130ක් ගෙවන්න පුළුවන්.
අධිපතිතුමා මේ ප්‍රතිවගතකරණයට අදාළ වෙන්නේ 2022 අවසානයේ දක්වා තියෙන ට්‍රෙසරි බිල්ස් විතරද මේ අවුරුද්දේ ඉෂු කරපුවත් ඒකට අන්තර්ගත වෙනවද?
මේකේ තියෙන්නේ දැන් 2000
We plans to remove certain maturities that will mature in the second half because of immediate liquidity needs. All bonds before that date will be included.
අවශ්‍යතාවල තියෙනවනේ දැන් EPF එකට පරණ කියන්නේ මේ දිනයට කලින් ඉෂු කරපු සියලුම බොන්ඩ්ස් මේකට අයිති.
මේ අවුරුද්දේ ඒවා අදාළ වෙන්නේ නැහැ ඒකට.
මේ අවුරුද්දේ ඒවා දැන් මේ බොන්ඩ් එක්ස්චේන්ජ් එක
They will be considered. The bond exchange is set to be launched next Tuesday. All outstanding bonds will be included. From those bonds held by banks and other holders will be excluded, but bonds in superannuation funds will be included.
Why were banks excluded from the debt restructuring process? Speaking on the matter today, the central bank governor noted the tax percentage charged from the banking system, which was at 39%, has been hiked beyond 48%. In addition to this, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe pointed out that considering the situation in the banking system due to actions including loan concessions given in the recent past, it was not included in the loan optimization process. Thus, the inclusion of superannuation funds in the debt restructuring process posed an issue to retiring employees.
අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කිසිම ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. ඒකේ තමයි අපි බලලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද අර
There definitely won't be an issue. This concerns liquidity. When we were discussing on the EPF, we considered whether a liquidity issue will arise in other funds. In that, the contribution and the income is quite large, and anyone past 55 years of age can withdraw funds anytime. Anyone can obtain the funds once it matures, or 30% of it can be obtained at any time. There is no hindrance to that. The EPF has sufficient liquidity for that purpose.
ETF එක ගැන සඳහන් වුණා EPF එකේ යෝජනාව පැහැදිලි කරා ඔබතුමා ETF එකේ තත්ත්වයක් දැනගන්න කැමති.
ඒක හැමෝටම
The government will present it. The proposal has been made. Then the EPF and the ETF will take into account how they will benefit the most through this, and then take part in the bond exchange.
බොන්ඩ් එක්ස්චේන්ජ් එක සහභාගී වෙන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Can the expected amount of debt be restructured through this process?
දැන් මෙතන කිව්වා ණය ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහ ගත කිරීමට අදාළ වන්නේ ඩොලර් බිලියන 19.8ක් කියලා.
කියන්නේ අපි දැන් මේ කතා කරන දේශීය ණය
The portion regarding domestic debt restructuring stands at 19.8 billion when mentioned in dollars. It is roughly 6 trillion when mentioned in rupees. 3.5 trillion falls under superannuation funds. That is the part we are talking about.
තමයි ඔය අපි කතා කරන්නේ. EPF ETF අර ඔක්කොම සුපර්ඇනුවේෂන් තියෙන ඒ කොටස ඇතුලේ.
එතකොට ඉතුරු කොටස කොහොමද ළඟා කරගන්නේ?
ඉතුරු කොටස තියෙන්නේ central bank.
The rest includes central bank treasury bills worth 2.6 trillion. The balance is SLDB and FCBU.
If you were going to safeguard the banks, why did you create or there was an impression created that there'll be a run on the banks and extended to the 5-day holiday? Was that
It's a misunderstanding. When these things are announced, and there could be a lot of speculation, manipulation in the markets if markets are kept open. So that's the main reason why Friday was announced as a holiday, because all approval will be obtained after the parliament approval. In between there will be a lot of discussion, but obviously proposal is out, is a proposal, not yet approved by the parliament properly in legal terms. So until then there could be a speculation, because those are market trading. In one hand, treasury bonds can be traded in the market, and on the other hand, bank stocks can be traded in the market on the speculation and manipulation. So just to prevent that kind of a market panic, speculation, stabilize the markets, that's the reason we wanted to announce Friday as a holiday, that markets would not function. That's the only reason, nothing to do with the banking system concerns or stability. So why we announce because there's a lot of speculation even before that there will be an impact on public deposits, a lot of inquiries about whether they need to withdraw their money from the banks. Just to settle those concerns, that's why I came out and explained the reason